time outside that I put the house on the market. And it is now in contract.
Yay!
I accept
That's
the offer.
good. I was a little worried about, because the market it slows down in the fall.
Why is Janelle saying yay? I don't get her thinking.
So you might hear some licking sounds as I'm doing this recording because two of my cats are sitting right next to me and grooming themselves, and you know how cats groom themselves with their tongue and all. Anyway, so Cody's temper tantrums stem from a trifecta of triggers, I think. The cash crunch, the last grip on power, and the complete drought of praise and spotlight taken away from him. Picture Kody as a kid who tippy-toes around a stern, domineering figure, and think of Robin, while unleashing his frustration on the compassionate, supporting, accepting, loving mom figures in his life, which is the OG3 ex-wives. Ditching their established Vegas setups was the most colossal financial blunder this guy could have ever indulged himself in. Viewers were like completely gobsmacked at the decision. They uprooted to pricier rentals in a pricier locale, leaving their homes unsold. Like, who does that, guy? This guy, I guess. Stretched thin and desperate, they jumped at whatever offers came their way. Think about the soaring value of those homes compared to Coyote Pass's barren lots. What on earth made them abandon the cul-de-sac dream to start from scratch all over again? It doesn't even make any sense. The financial strategy they followed is baffling to the point of absurdity. Then, audaciously, Kody criticizes Janelle for not having an entrepreneurial mindset when she balks at leveraging her credit for his gain in Christine's property deal. He's been treating his wife's credit and financial resources as his personal piggy bank, having full control over their money. It's shocking how he never prioritized health insurance for most of his children or even their education, instead, choosing to fritter away funds relentlessly. And when it came to Isabel's surgery, it's clear his reluctance was rooted in not wanting to fork out cash for her necessary medical care. Kody has long treated his wife's credit lines and earnings as his personal slush fund, funding his whims and desires. Now, with the departure of the OG3 wives, his financial lifelines have dried up. His concern over Christine's exit wasn't about losing her, but about losing the potential revenue from her property sale. His spending spree, devoid of any restraint, showcases his fondness for the illusion of affluence, despite lacking the acumen to genuinely build wealth. Their departure has thrown Kody into a financial tailspin as he scrambles to sustain his lavish lifestyle on a significantly reduced budget. He harbors resentment towards his wives for reclaiming their finances, believing those funds to be his due to his access to their money that he fondly labeled as family money. His refusal to fairly distribute assets stems from a desire to retain control over them and their resources that he so dearly desires, marking his final stand in exerting influence over their lives. Kody's claim that Christine's departure ignited his fury doesn't hold up, as his temper has been flaring long before their split and even before the pandemic struck. His short fuse was evident in Flagstaff, exemplified by his disproportionate reactions to innocuous gestures, like an imagined finger pointing by a wife that never happened in that specific scene, where he asked not to point a finger. Although his temper had always been volatile, even over minor matters such as party table arrangements, it became progressively worse, initially manifesting through unwarranted criticism towards Mary over her indecision about building among the trees. Cody's frustration wasn't just sparked by Christine's reluctance towards a singular residence. It escalated during a Utah road trip where his mood notably darkened, alarming the wives with his dark demeanor. His temper reached a boiling point over the debate on acquiring Robin's so called mansion, her unreasonable demands exacerbating the situation. Robin's insistence on a bedroom for each child and her refusal to compromise, banking on divine intervention to avoid homelessness, even, would test anyone's patience. This period marked Cody's growing disillusionment with the relocation and with his marriage to Robin herself, even contemplating a retreat to their previous Las Vegas homes, a suggestion made all the more poignant by the realization that those properties had been let go at shamefully low market values. It even made his ex wives question why he took this decision at all and how they had all pointed out that this was not going to be a good decision. Cody's real estate gamble flopped spectacularly, throwing the family's finances into disarray and eroding the trust his wives had in him. Similar to Janelle's current predicament, Cody found himself ensnared in a financial quagmire of his own making. Despite being the family patriarch whose decisions were once met with unwavering faith, his catastrophic misjudgment over the Flagstaff move shattered any confidence anyone had in his leadership. This debacle not only exposed his flawed financial acumen, but also his colossal ego, which prevents him from owning up to his mistakes. Deep down, Cody might recognize the financial chaos he's caused, yet his overwhelming guilt is masked by a veneer of hostility directed at anyone within arm's reach. Adding spice to the mix, Robin, alongside with her sidekick alter ego, Shira, wields manipulation like a master. She possesses this uncanny knack for wrapping those around her finger, ensuring their loyalty and undying affection. She's like a mind reader, telling people their own emotions, selling it as her unique talent to deeply get people. She crafts this narrative that she's the one who truly comprehends you better than you do yourself, while simultaneously casting herself and her children as the perpetual underdogs and victims, triggering an instinctive desire in gullible idiots like Cody in her circle to shield herself. She twists the truth with finesse, like claiming Christine spurned her and her children when that's a stretch from reality, or suggesting Mary exclude the other kids from the Christmas Eve, only to play the victim card that Janelle's brood snubbed her totally. She might even buy into her own fabrications. Dealing with her can be a trip to the brink of madness. And that's not just talk, it's like an inverse gaslighting. She's a pro at making you doubt your own sanity while assuring you you're as grounded as ever. Her kids seem stuck in time, and her preschooler is still on the pacifier beat. And what about her 19-year-olds? Ear piercing saga? It screams more like a preteen, tween level behavior more than anything even remotely adult like. None of them have dated or left the house at all. That weird comment Aurora made about allowing herself to think for herself? Who does that as an adult? She lacks a sense of self, indicating severe mental, emotional abuse, manipulation, and exploitation. Robin has spent years whispering in Cody's ear and the ears of her kids and convincing him that he's a victim and everyone else is against him, that everyone hates him and is being disloyal and he needs to be honored and obeyed. He spent most of his time at Robin's house before, but I'm sure he got out a lot too, driving around in his sports car, hanging out with his sons on the cul-de-sac. But in the move to Flagstaff, he was more isolated with just Robin, and he was angry with himself over the move, and she had more influence over him. And then, with COVID, He was totally isolated with just her. She had ample opportunity to blow the dangers of COVID out of proportion, inflate the kids' need for him, and fabricate tales of the other wives and their kids defying and deceiving him. Kody, ever the pushover, swayed by the last person he spoke to, as recounted by all his wives over the years. While he bears the brunt of his actions, Robin too shoulders blame for her self serving manipulations, putting her and her kids first. Mary's finally breaking free from her influence, awakening to the chaos around her. Now, Robin's bewildered, unable to twist the reality that all but one of the original brood, alongside the other wives, have walked away. And there she is, stuck with a Kody who's gone completely off the deep end. Deep down, Kody's pointing fingers at Robin. Perhaps the trek to Flagstaff sprouted from Robin's brain. We are clueless about the specifics of that chat, but it etched in Kody's memory. Yet he's burying it deep down, deflecting his inner urge to ditch Robin and the kiddos, including the tiny ones still showering him with affection. He's caught in a subconscious comparison trap, sizing up Soul and Ari against his older kids' younger versions. Soul's academic struggles became so intense they roped in the nanny for extra tutoring. Meanwhile, Ari, the night owl, with her pacifier and queen of the castle behavior, showcases just how spoiled she's become. Kody must realize none of his older children clung to a pacifier at nearly 6 years old. He's definitely noticed Robin's lavish spending habits, her insistence on an excessive number of bedrooms, and even her objection to him attending his mother in law's funerals. Deep inside, he's aware that Robin's manipulation has stripped him of his authority, yet his frustration is misdirected at Christine and Janelle. The thought of being so profoundly swayed by the newcomer wife is a pill too bitter for him to swallow, leaving him drowning in denial and delaying the inevitable confrontation with reality. Robin might not have intentionally woven her web of deceit. She likely believes her own fabrications, leading to her current state of bewilderment. Her grasp on reality has become so skewed, she's essentially tricked herself with her own delusions. Engaging in such self deception is risky. It's akin to voluntarily splintering one's personality or psyche into some sort of a multiple personality disorder or inviting malevolent spirits to take hold of yourself. I mean, if you were religious, that's what you would think. The toll for such actions is too high. Janelle, Christine, and their children have liberated themselves from her vortex of chaos, finding joy and relief in their newfound freedom. They're no longer burdened by the specter of pleasing Kody and Robin. Why fret over their opinions? Liberation means not getting dragged into the gravitational pull of a destructive force. It's somewhat tragic to consider Kody and Robin's upbringing within a belief system founded by someone as evil and pervert as Joseph Smith, a figure notorious for his manipulative prowess. Their lives are testament to the chaos wrought by layering falsehood upon falsehood. Raised in a milieu steeped in irrational thought, they were virtually set up for the turmoil they're now experiencing. Their perspectives are profoundly skewed, with Robin envisioning unborn children and Kody attributing mystical abilities to her. They're entangled in a doctrine that originated as a means for an unscrupulous pervert old man to sexually exploit underage girls. Despite their adult actions, at the heart they remain ensnared by their childhood indoctrination. While they bear responsibility for their choices, it's hard not to see them as casualties of their environment. Their story stands as a stark warning against the dangers of living in a web of illusions and lies. I would add the manosphere and some sort of steroids. Look at his physique in Vegas when he was pitching Flagstaff versus now. He always had anger issues. There were times on the couch when Christine flinches and covers. Kody is absolutely vain enough to get on HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. Probably why his hair loss accelerated too. Cody's always been a low quality person. Even in season 1, you can see it. He's just angry now because he's finally facing consequences for his actions for the first time in his life. And he doesn't know how to handle it. Kody thrives on adulation like a fish needs water. Deprived of this, his spirit withers and he drags others down with him. Robin, craving stability, will back anyone who offers it, but her appetite for assurance grows insatiable. Cody's rage isn't new. He's addicted to a constant stream of praise and adoration. His ego, fragile as glass and apparently nestled in his kidneys, can't handle dissent. The Mary debacle was a gut punch he never bounced back from, leaving his ego bruised and battered. Far from learning or evolving, he remains stuck in a loop, a textbook narcissist on an endless quest for validation. Kody found himself entangled with a covertly narcissistic partner, pushing him into the role of her unwitting accomplice. Perpetually muddled, irate, and at odds with himself, he's been worn down by a voice that never ceases, whispering tales of abandonment by all but her, guiding his every move. Robin's desires are like a bottomless pit, her contentment an unreachable horizon. It's perhaps in the small acts of rebellion, the motorbikes, his peculiar eating habits, that Cody's frustration seeps out. A silent protest against being outsmarted and overpowered by her cunning and conniving ways. His confrontations with the other wives merely echo Robin's sentiments, a parrot squawking loyalty at her behest. In their heart to heart, Nathan seemed to understand the underlying issues, yet he allowed the chaos to unfold. That's precisely why he's contemplating making his exit from Robin's life. It begs the question, why haven't they strategized on managing a family with 4 wives more effectively? Simply expecting loyalty from the wives doesn't constitute a strategy. Cody's leadership has been lacking, with the family dynamic holding on by a thread for 16 years straight until Robin's arrival, which then led to a series of missteps. The decision to go public was made without foreseeing the consequences, dis- disrupting the children's lives with abrupt school changes and causing distress with police patrols in their neighborhood. The the hasty move to Vegas left them homeless for a month. Yet, as long as Robin was content, nothing else seemed to matter. Robin and Cody's COVID precautions were laughably inconsistent. Masks were seemingly off the table, yet their nanny, of all people, became the unwitting Trojan horse, delivering germs right to their doorstep. Hilarious. Was it germs or viruses? Of course, it was COVID. It was a virus. Cody's biggest fear isn't the virus. It's poverty, like he says. With the real breadwinners packing their bags, his terror is morphing into rage. Robin's going to need to clamp down on that spending, given she's more about depleting resources than generating them. Her extravagant habits could very well lead them to financial ruin. Speculating on Robin's employability is bleak at best. Her conversational skills alone raise questions about her qualifications and literacy skills. The future post TV life for Kody paints a grim picture, reminiscent of The Mosquito Coast, a book with a vivid portrayal of a man's descent into his own ego driven downfall. That's all from me today, everyone. Talk to you another time over another video. Peace out.